Land, we are doing our very first Meet the Business Owner, I guess is what we're going to call it. I just kind of came up with that. And for the very first episode, we've got Dr. Ruehle with Ruehle Family Chiropractic, a user of Qneo. So I'm going to ask Rhett to introduce himself, tell us a little bit about his business, and we'll start a nice little conversational interview.
Perfect.
So, is it Dr. Ruehle or Rhett? How do you want?
Rhett works just fine.
Perfect. Yeah, so you want to just give us a quick overview maybe of your business and how things go here at the office?
Sure. Well, I'm born and raised in Sioux City, as you and I have spoke about in the past, I know. Mm-hmm. And after graduating from Chiropractic School, I moved back to Sioux City and decided to open up my own chiropractic office, and I wanted to open it up on the honor fee system. The honor fee system simply means that everybody pays according to their means for care. And when I opened the office, I was the only office running this way in Sioux City, and in fact, within several hundred miles, I was the only office that was running a system similar to this.
Cool. So how did you where did the honor fee system start? Is that something you came up with or you learned about?
I wish I could say I came up with it. The honor fee system has been around for years and years. It kind of faded a little bit, but it's had a pretty big resurgence over the past 5 to 10 years. And when I was in chiropractic school, I didn't know that there was any other way to run an office other than to accept insurance. However, it always frustrated me that there would be some people that could afford care and others that couldn't afford care, whether they had insurance coverage or not. And even if you set a cash price, there's a fee that everyone can afford and there's a fee that everyone can't afford. And knowing where to set that fee was a little bit difficult.
Right.
And so after a whole lot of soul searching and thinking, I decided that the only way I could open an office and have the office that I wanted was to run an office where every single person, regardless of what they do for a living or what stage they're at in life, an office that every single person could afford care.
That's cool. That's, I guess that really kind of vibes with what we are trying to do with Qneo as well. So I think that's kind of why we get along, right?
Yeah.
Try to offer it to all different types of people, and then just everybody gets the benefit that way. That's cool.
Exactly.
So maybe let's talk about where you went to school and why I guess you chose to go even further north than Iowa, and
Sure.
bet the winters got kind of cold up there.
I graduated from Briarcliff here in Sioux City, and then I went up to Northwestern, that's in the Twin Cities, for chiropractic school. The couple schools that I looked at were either Northwestern up in the Twin Cities, like I said, or Palmer, which is over in Davenport. I chose Northwestern because I thought it offered a little bit more than what Palmer may have. Both are good schools. I kind of wanted to get out of the state for a little while as well.
Yeah.
And so went up there, I went to school, did my internships up in the Twin Cities as well. Thought about opening an office in that area, and also did internships in there and got a few offers for jobs up there too. Mm-hmm. Also had a job offer down in Mississippi, of all places.
Oh, yeah.
And decided after weighing all the options that I definitely wanted to open my own office, and I definitely wanted to open my own office back here in Sioux City.
Yeah, cool. So where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school at Healing.
Healing?
Yep.
Okay. I won't hold that against you.
That's right.
No, I'm kidding. I'm a Raider, so.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. So, now, you started, is this your first location?
This is my second location. I started just a couple blocks down Gordon Drive. One of the big things when I opened up was to keep things affordable. Mm-hmm. I had to keep overhead affordable on my end so that I could afford to stay open. So I actually opened in one room, and after I think it was 18 months, I moved up to 2 rooms. Big move at that time. And then a couple of years later, I moved over to my current location on Gordon. That's, of course, substantially larger than either of my other 2 offices earlier. And it's been good. It's worked out well.
Cool. So, I mean, right now, we might as well tell people where you are located.
Sure.
I mean, right next to the tax place. What's right next door here?
Yeah, H&R Block.
H&R Block,
just
that's
a couple spaces up. I'm in the strip mall attached to Hy-Vee right there.
That's probably a better way to notify people. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so, I mean, a great location. I mean, you got a lot of traffic right there, I suppose, and there's some good restaurants around, too, for lunch break, right? Yeah, so what are your plans going forward, maybe, with, where do you see Ruehle Family Chiropractic a week from now, a year from now, or, what's your future plans?
Sure. I plan on continuing to grow the office. And the only way that I grow the office is through happy people telling other happy people. If the results weren't there and if people weren't happy with the care, I would have been out of business a long, long time ago. But because people have been very happy with the care they've received and can maintain that care due to the affordability factor, I plan to be around for quite some time.
Awesome. Yeah, well, so I guess let's backtrack again. Why chiropractic?
That's a great question, isn't it? Really, chiropractic deals with the connection between the brain and the rest of the body. It's no news to you, and I'm sure no news to any of the viewers that are watching this, that the brain controls everything that occurs in the body, or at least oversees everything that occurs in the body. Mm-hmm. Simply put, what chiropractic does is it makes sure that there is as clear of a connection between the brain and the body as possible, thereby making sure that the body functions as efficiently as it can.
Okay. But so why you could have been a brain surgeon, right?
Sure. Sure.
Yeah. What drew you to?
Oh, okay.
Yep. Why?
What drew me into the profession?
Yeah.
Is a different one. Yeah, that makes sense. The reason why I chose to go into chiropractic was because as a child, I was adjusted from a very, very young age. I think my first adjustment occurred when I was either 2 or 3 months old. I know I was pretty young at that time. And I went very regularly growing up, all through middle school, junior high, high school, college, all the way. And I was always amazed by what chiropractors could accomplish without any medications or any surgical procedures as well. It never ceased to amaze me what they could get done in a few visits oftentimes, and how much better I would be able to perform, whether it was on the sports field or court, or whether it was just in everyday life. I was always amazed by how well of a job they did, and how amazing it was. I know I said amazing about 8 times.
Hey, if you love something, then it's amazing, right?
Amazing.
Exactly. It's just good to know you feel that passion about what you do. That's cool. I have been to a chiropractor a few times, and maybe what goes on in the body when you hear that, just that all the way up the back. I think that might freak some people out. It did to me the first time. I didn't know if I was going to be able to get up and walk away from that.
The majority of the time, that popping noise is actually a release of gases, is what it amounts to. Okay. That's why after a joint moves and there is that popping, if you attempt to move that same joint, the motion will be there, but the popping noise is not going to be, because the gases have not had a chance to resettle back in that joint. Really, it's not the popping sound or noise that we're going after when I adjust somebody's spine. It's way more of the changes that occur. So I'm going for the changes that occur both in the bone structure as well as the musculature that's attached to those bones. I want to make sure that that is as balanced as possible after, regardless of whether or not there's a pop that occurs.
Okay. See, so he knows his stuff. That's why you gotta come and check out Dr. Ruehle. Yeah, exactly. Well, cool. I guess if somebody was thinking about chiropractic, or I got 2 questions next, but if somebody is thinking about going into chiropractic, maybe they're a little concerned, do I become a chiropractor, or I feel more comfortable around medicine. I feel, would you? I feel like you're a person that wouldn't persuade somebody to come to chiropractic because it's greatest. But why, if they are uneasy about being a chiropractor, maybe explain, what's great about being a chiropractic doctor.
Sure. The thing that
it probably wasn't phrased the best way, but that's what I'm getting at.
I kind of know what you mean. The thing that I love most about my job is the wide range of people that I get to see, and that I get to see them on a regular basis. Really, they become almost an extension of my family. That's where the family comes from, and Ruehle Family Chiropractic. People here aren't treated like at a standard doctor's office, if you will, and that's a very general term to use, of course.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
It's way more of a family type atmosphere. When people come in, it feels like they're back at home rather than in a different type of office.
Yes, not in a waiting room like an animal or something, right?
Yeah. And as far as choosing a profession, if it's someone that's either looking for a career change or a student wondering what direction to go between chiropractic and medicine or whatever it may be, the biggest thing I would say is to get out there and shadow. I don't know of any person out there that won't let a student, or in many cases someone that's already got an established career, at least shadow them. Whether that's a doctor, whether that is a CPA, whether that's an architect, whatever profession it may be, most of the time they're open for shadows to come. Then when you shadow that office, you can see if it's a fit for you and that style is a fit for you, or if a totally different profession may be a better fit for you.
I think that's just great advice in general. So if somebody was thinking about it and they want to shadow you, you're more than happy to take them on.
Yeah, I'm always open for it. I've had
There's not like a strict interview process.
No.
Okay, good.
It's pretty laid back.
Cool. So if you're thinking about it, come contact Rhett here about that. So that kind of answered my other question a little bit, but maybe you can elaborate more. Is if somebody's hesitant about being adjusted or seeing you, what comfort could you give them?
Sure.
So.
The techniques that I use are very gentle. In addition to that, I only adjust areas where your body is ready to accept an adjustment on that given day. In other words, if there's a spot on your spine, whether it's in your neck, your mid-back, your low back, wherever it may be, if there's a spot on your spine that's not ready to accept an adjustment, your body's not ready to accept that adjustment, then we don't adjust that area on that visit.
How do you know that? How do you know when it's ready? I mean, is it by touch or by?
Knowing someone's ready is by touch, and actually you could probably notice a whole lot if someone's ready or not, and your training is substantially less than the training that I have. If somebody comes in and their spine is extremely rigid, meaning the muscles around their spine are extremely rigid because of how nervous they are, which has happened in the past, that's an area that we do not adjust on that visit, because if I adjust through those tight muscles, yes, an adjustment could occur, but I could actually do more harm than good. So that would be one example anyway of an area that we would leave and would come back to on the next visit.
Right, okay.
And through a few visits, they're going to become comfortable, they're going to relax, those adjustments are going to go a whole lot easier.
Cool. And so once they come in and you make them feel comfortable and you adjust them, I know we talked about the honor system a little bit, but can you explain a little bit about how your honor system works, maybe specifically, or if it's even different than another one, how that works out between you and the customer?
Yeah. What the honor fee system means is really what it sounds like. It means that every single person pays according to their means for care. So there's no fee too low, no fee too high. You pick a fee that's reasonable for you, and that's exactly how you pay for your care. There's no set fees, because the Taco Bell employee just a couple doors down here, they probably can afford a different amount for care as opposed to the store director at Hy-Vee just a couple doors in the other direction. Since I want everyone, whether it's the Taco Bell employee or the manager of Hy-Vee, to be able to afford care, that's why I run my office on that special fee system known as the honor fee system again. So there's no fee too low, no fee too high. As long as it's reasonable for you, then it's reasonable for me as well. Basically, the two points to keep in mind that I ask people to keep in mind when they're determining a fee that's reasonable for them is, if you need to charge up a credit card, it's probably not reasonable. And if you need to get a second mortgage on your home, it's probably not reasonable either.
Okay.
So as long as it's not either of those two, the fees most likely are.
Okay. Cool, that's neat. And then I gotta point out too, the box that's in there is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Not only does it look cool, but that's how people pay. It's not at a cash till where you hand them the money and it's not a transaction. I think that's even makes it more comfortable here, right? So
yeah, in the adjusting room, there's a box on the wall, and that's where you put your payment. It's a little bit more confidential for people that may be going through a rougher time, and sometimes handing people cash or a check may be a little bit more difficult if you're having a struggle financially. So that allows for a little bit more confidentiality.
And did I hear that the box was made by, was it you or your?
There's two different boxes. One of them was made by my dad, who passed away a little over 2 years ago now. And another one was actually made by an office member in my office. So there's a little bit of stories behind
That's
both
neat,
of them.
yeah. Cool. So, Dad gets to be part of the business. That's neat.
right.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, cool. So again, maybe if you want to tell somebody how to get in contact with you, it's email, Facebook, phone, what's the best way to?
You can simply Google Ruehle Family Chiropractic. You're going to find the phone number that way. You're going to find the email address that way. You're going to find the website that way. One of the easiest ways is to download the Qneo app and just claim the deal. Easy.
I thought I was going to have to remind you, but awesome, cool. Yeah, that's right. So Ruehle Family Chiropractic is on Qneo. Go find it in the Play Store for Android. Just search Qneo, Qneo, and then we'll also have the iPhone app out early in May 2016. If you watch this sometime way in the future. And yeah, you'll get a deal from Dr. Ruehle here. Just come in and redeem. And so, and plenty more businesses as well.
That's right.
But
yeah, there's quite a
the
few
feature one right now is Dr. Ruehle. Cool. Well, thanks. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was a great interview. Thanks again. And we'll see more stuff on Qneo, hopefully.
Yeah.
And cool. Appreciate it. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.